For this video, I'm going to do something different. I'm going to discuss how the world and the United States might look like after 4 years of Donald Trump's presidency. Many of you might expect me to dive straight into the controversies. Don't worry, we'll get to those. But I want to start by addressing some of the potential bright spots. Of course, this is open for discussion. Remember that this podcast is dedicated to exploring the truth through conversations with the most brilliant minds. That includes you, the audience. So if any of the ideas discovered here are controversial on your end or you disagree with, feel free to comment and engage with me on the comment section. Could there be advancements in technology? Could there be major technological shifts that, for better or worse, alter the trajectory of nations? Let's explore the possibilities, the risks, and the truths we might not want to admit. In this episode, we'll cover artificial intelligence, we'll cover the Middle East, the global economy, Russia, Ukraine, and much more. Let's dive in. Artificial intelligence, the Stargate project. Trump's administration, just 1 week after his inauguration, announced the $500 billion Stargate project, a bold initiative to dominate AI and advanced technology. The potential benefits: the US could see unprecedented advancements in AI, quantum computing, and biotechnology. Private-public partnerships might emerge, with companies like OpenAI, Google, and xAI leading a new era of innovation. National AI hubs could spring up across the country, creating millions of jobs and making the US the epicenter of technological advancements. AI breakthroughs in medicine could lead to personalized healthcare, making diseases like cancer manageable or even curable. This is an insane development, but Google DeepMind CEO Demis Hassabis said that their AlphaFold AI system has performed 1 billion years of PhD work, and they will have their first drugs in the clinic by the end of the year, with cancer, heart disease, and neurodegenerative diseases on the list of targets. Wow, this is just mind-shattering ideas. If you think about the potential benefits of having the US leading the era of artificial intelligence, infrastructure driven to create that world and that atmosphere in the United States as well, you're thinking about 100 years worth of innovations happening in less than a month. I know I just said 100 years, and the CEO of AlphaFold said 1 billion years. These are numbers that we cannot comprehend, and a reality that we're driving into that it's just unfathomable. So this is exciting. This is a just optimistic idea that, hey, we're gonna put our investments, our efforts into making sure that the United States is at the forefront of the innovation. Now let's discuss the risks and fallout. If mishandled, AI dominance could exacerbate inequality, with a significant portion of the population left behind due to automation. So there's a lot of chatter around X specifically, that if you had plans on your next 2 years in terms of your career, you can forget about them now. You can just give up. One of them was by Brian Johnson, the now famous Don't Die person who I would love to host on a podcast. But he said essentially that what all of us have that fear lingering in our thoughts, which is AI might come for all of our jobs. And the good news is that if it's just automation, if it's just doing repetitive work, most of the people who are displaced from that jobs will be able to explore their creative potential or have a different pivot in their career. But again, this could exacerbate inequality. The second risk and fallout would be government surveillance might reach dystopian levels, justified under the banner of national security. With AI being able to just track everything and anyone at any moment, wow. Reminds me of the song Every Step, or the lyrics of the song, every step you take, every move you make, I'll be watching you, under the pretense of national security. We're already tracked. We don't know how we're really tracked. They don't tell us that. But now with AI, we can stop speculating. And that's a risk that we need to discuss. Global rivals like China might accelerate their own AI programs, leading to an arms race, not of nuclear weapons, but of machine intelligence. Drones that are automated, robots that are automated to kill, soldiers that are no longer soldiers, everything automated based on an algorithm that's an AI. And with superpowers like China might leading up to tensions, geopolitical tensions, also economic tensions with the tariffs between Trump's administration and China, or a lot of other factors, this could be well into play. Then the ethical debate over AI could become more polarized, with little oversight on how this technology is applied. If you think about it, we're not really regulating AI at this moment. Rightly so, because we're allowing innovations to emerge, and regulation often stifles innovation. That being said, there's a lot of unknowns that we don't know about yet, about how this technology will unfold. And we might have to have a sensible conversation on where should we put more guardrails in terms of where AI is applied, and where can we remove the guardrails totally. That's a discussion worth having as well. Hello everyone, and thank you for allowing me to interrupt this episode. I have a huge announcement that I'll be sharing with you just now. My first book ever is out now, called The Time Is Now, a guide to honor your time on Earth. This was a 2-year project that's been in the works. It's a tough love guide to honor your time on Earth. This book will show you how to reclaim your time and energy for what truly matters. Click the link in the show notes and you're gonna see also the link to the domain here, timeisnowbook.com. Order a copy for your loved ones, and I'm so excited for you to dive into it. Thank you. The bigger picture is America could either be hailed as the leader of a new technological age or criticized as a nation that prioritized innovation over humanity. Do you think this project will unite the nation or divide it further? Let me know in the comments. Now let's discuss the Middle East. Peace or fragmentation? Trump's administration may double down on the Abraham Accords, and we saw that during Trump's inaugural speech, what he said in terms of normalizing relations between Israel and more Arab states. He, in fact, had hostages or families of hostages, Israeli hostages, behind him during that speech, and he discussed the Abraham Accords. He even praised Jared Kushner as he led the Abraham Accords, and we might see an expansion of those. This could lead to breakthroughs in peace. Saudi Arabia officially joining the accords, leading to a significant reduction in regional tensions. Economic partnerships between Israel and Arab states could lead to massive infrastructure projects, renewable energy initiatives, and tech innovation hubs in the region. Iran's influence might tone down a bit as sanctions tighten and internal dissent weakens the regime. And a potential resolution in Yemen could emerge as proxies like Iran and Saudi Arabia de-escalate their involvement. But what about the risks? Iran, feeling cornered, could escalate its nuclear ambitions or foster even more aggressive proxy conflicts. And regional peace might rely heavily on authoritarian regimes staying in power, raising ethical questions about US alliances. How does this look globally? A more stable Middle East might make Trump's foreign policy appear pragmatic, even visionary, but at what cost to democratic ideals and human rights? This is something we need to discuss. The Middle East is volatile, and now that we're in a ceasefire between Hamas and Israel and we're seeing hostages being returned, a lot of things are boiling. A lot of conversations around how Gaza will be governed after the war and if Hamas will lay down its arms after the war. And next week I'm hosting an expert. Most of you already know about him, Francisco Hill White. He's going to join me to discuss the Middle East more in depth and his perspective on how the outlook of the war looks like. Then we have the Russia and Ukraine war, the endgame. Trump's stance on Russia has always been controversial, and after 4 years, we might see dramatic changes in Eastern Europe. The best case scenario is a negotiated settlement that ends the war in Ukraine. Russia might retain control of Crimea, while Ukraine secures its sovereignty and NATO guarantees. Europe rebuilds and sanctions on Russia are eased, leading to a gradual reintegration of Russia into the global economy. Now, the worst case scenario. Ukraine is forced into a humiliating peace deal, effectively becoming a puppet state under Russian influence. NATO weakens as Trump pressures European allies to pay more for their defense, leading to fractures in Western alliances. Eastern Europe becomes a hotbed of instability, with Russia emboldened to further into the Baltics or even Poland. How does this impact the United States? Trump might be seen as a dealmaker who ended the war, but critics could argue that it was at the expense of democratic values and US credibility on the global stage. We saw Trump signing over 200 executive orders in his first day in office, and some of them include withdrawing from the international scene, like WHO. The United States has withdrawn from the World Health Organization, which is a big deal, considering all of what that entails, whether it's right or wrong, and whether the reasons Trump cited, which include China paying less than the United States, even though China has more population than the United States, if that's true, or however you want to deal with that, the implication here is that the United States is withdrawn from the international stage. And the US-Mexico border, how that's being dealt with, it's also an implication that perhaps a lot of isolation we're going to see through Trump, and that, of course, affects the Russia-Ukraine war. So this is something we should keep an eye on. The economy, will it boom or will it burst? Trump's economic policies will likely focus on deregulation, tax cuts, and incentivizing manufacturing. The boom scenario looks like lower corporate taxes and reduced regulations could spur investment, leading to a roaring economy. Manufacturing jobs might return to the US, fulfilling promises to Rust Belt states and boosting Trump's legacy as a pro-jobs president. Stock markets could hit record highs as businesses thrive in a deregulated environment. Inflation stabilizes and energy independence policies drive down costs of oil and gas. Drill baby drill, like Trump says. The bust scenario is that deregulation could lead to environmental degradation and financial instability, with another housing or banking crisis looming. The wealth gap could widen as tax cuts disproportionately benefit the rich, leading to potential civil unrest and political polarization. And again, with AI, the rising automation could exacerbate unemployment, with millions left behind in an economy that perhaps favors the tech-savvy elite. These could affect everyday Americans, for better or worse, but systemic inequalities could leave many questioning whether the prosperity is real or just a facade. The controversies: polarization, climate, and culture wars. Polarization. Would America become more divided than ever? That's a question I have for all of you. State-level battles over abortion, LGBTQ rights, and education could escalate, making the US feel like two separate nations. How about climate policy? How do we feel about that? If environmental regulations might be rolled back, could this be a pretense into more frequent natural disasters? And renewable energies initiatives could stall, leaving the US lagging behind global leaders in green technology. And what about culture shifts? Culture wars might dominate public discourse, and social media platforms could become toxic if not handled with the right mindset of optimism, of prosperity, and of an America that works for everyone. I know I just said a lot there in a short time. I'm excited to see how these next 4 years unfold on the optimistic outlook of it. There are challenges, of course, that expand further than this video. We're gonna continue discussing them through conversations with the most brilliant minds, and we're gonna see how it unfolds. But I believe that 4 years from now, we're gonna see an America that is changed or is moving into the direction of change, and hopefully this is for the better. If one of Trump's first press conferences with someone else was about AI, that means they're waking up to the fact that AI can serve as an amazing unleashing prosperity tool for everyone, especially here in America. And if we lead the way on that front, and if that's the vision of the United States in the next 4 years, that's exciting. And that's an optimistic outlook and one that I'm in favor of. That being said, we have to have the tough discussions that I just outlined. We have to have the tough discussions on how America will look, for better or for worse, in the next 4 years. How will Trump be remembered as a bold leader who reshaped the future of America, or someone who was a divisive figure? And the truth always lies in between. But one thing is for certain: the consequences of his presidency will be remembered for decades to come, especially in such a rapid world of innovation, of technological innovation. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Where do you see America and the world heading after 4 years of Donald Trump? Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Take care.